Call to order the meeting of the Common Council for Tuesday, March 15th. Clerk?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We have 12 present in the meeting and 12 present in civic clerk.
All right, thank you. We have a quorum and we will proceed. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence led by Alder Corpus Dax. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder LaFave, and that's to approve the minutes of our last meeting. Any changes to be made there? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf, to approve this meeting's agenda. Any changes to be made here? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Report by the mayor. Just a couple of points on this agenda, or one main one, I guess. We have a stipend for our city employees that's on this evening's agenda, made possible really by the fact that we have some surplus from last year's budget, partially the result of the fact that I think we have a lot of people that are wearing numerous hats. We have, at last count, 47 openings in the city of Green Bay, so there are a lot of people working very hard to do the job of the city and feel as though they're deserving of the stipend. Another thing to keep in mind is it's, as you all know, but just to reinforce this, it's a highly competitive work environment for people, and so we're just trying to do everything we can to make sure that our employees are rewarded for the work that they're doing every single day for the city's citizens. So asking for your support of that item this evening. And then I also just wanted to thank our outgoing alders. For those in the audience that aren't aware, alders Corpus Dax and LaFave and Vanderleest are serving in their last meeting tonight. And so just really want to thank them for all their years of service to the city of Green Bay. We all bring different perspectives and backgrounds and experiences, and that's what makes the city go around and makes democracy work. So really thankful to all of you for stepping up and serving the people here. So with that, I'll move along to announcements. Alder Scannell.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just two. There's a new business coming to downtown in the Cherry Street ramp. Loco Wisco. Locally crafted Wisconsin goods. It's going to be a Crazy About Wisconsin, a new gift souvenir store, seeking artists, makers, and producers from across the state whose products reflect Wisconsin landscape, culture, history, natural environment, or sense of place. So that leaves me out because I never have a sense of place. So that should be coming soon, and looks like it'll be pretty interesting, pretty different, pretty fun. And then secondly, I too would like to say I had a wonderful time serving and going to miss Alders Corpus Dax, Alder Vanderleest, and Alder LaFave. Wish you the best of luck, and thanks for your service.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to piggyback on that. Obviously, every 2 years the council changes in the makeup, and John, Veronica, Kathy, pleasure working with you. It's like council is like a family. It really is. You have a lot of agreements. There's good, there's bad. You have cooperation, you have fights, but we all have a bond that we all dealt with similar issues, and we all know what that's like, and that'll last forever. It can be a tough gig. So I appreciate your service. The city does, your district does, and not too many people. Speaking about Kathy here. Not too many people get to serve with their mother-in-law, so I've had the distinct pleasure of serving with her. I'm going to do something I've never done at council. I'm going to give her a hug.
All right.
you think we have feisty debates here, you should see what we're like at home. So, no, but thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Stoyer, and then Alder Corpus Dax.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, that's hard to follow up. I'm not going to hug anybody, but I'd just like to thank, well, I could. I'd like to thank Alder LaFave and Alder Vanderleest and Alder Corpus Dax. Great serving with them, and I had the pleasure of serving with Alder LaFave and Alder Vanderleest on protection and policy, and those were some enjoyable, fun, lengthy meetings many times. And I only dream about them occasionally. So thanks again for all your service, and God bless.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Corpus Dax.
I want to thank the residents of District 2 for allowing me to represent them the last 4 years. First 2 years were fantastic and very educational. The last 2 years have been patience testing, but again, very educational. I appreciate the help of everyone here on council that I've had the pleasure of serving with the past 4 years. Thank you for your service. We definitely, every year, I think every 2 years, I think it's great that we have people that are trying the waters and thinking about stepping up and serving the district. I hope that we continue to see that. I think it's just great for the city when we have people that are interested in running for council, trying something that they've never done before. Barbara Dorff, Bill Galvin, Brian, my personnel and finance committee members. It's been super educational. I know more about the police union than I think I need to know, but glad to have that information, and I think I know more about Easttown than I really need to know. But again, super educational. I'm glad to have served. Thanks.
Thanks, Alder. Alder LaFave.
Yes, I want to piggyback on that. My district, I like my district. I think we have a lot of great people in my district, and it's a little, it's a little sad that I'm leaving. I was hoping to do another term, but as everyone knows, my husband got ill, so yeah, it's not feasible for me to do a proper job. But I will be running for county, but yes, I want to thank all the people on the council. I've got to know a lot of them, and I think even the council people, really great people, everybody who's serving, and it takes dedication to do this. I mean, if you're out knocking on doors and how you have to get out and you have to talk to your district and you have to get the feel of your district. So when you vote, you kind of know how to vote. But one thing that I'm telling everybody is, I've always done this, is I like to listen. I don't speak as much at the meetings. I like to listen, and I've had some times where I've changed my vote because somebody can say something that I did not think of, and it kind of changes how you think about the issue. So I tried to be as much independent as I could, and so yeah, it's bittersweet, and I'm glad that I was able to serve 2 years, and I know somebody kept talking. Wanting me to join the council, but finally I did after years of knowing that now I had time. Being retired helps. And so some of you work, and I find that is really a commitment when you work and running. So I want to thank everybody, and yes, I'll miss everybody here. And one thing that I think is kind of sad is that I think we're only going to have 2 women on our council again. So I was hoping to find a woman to run, but I couldn't. But it'd be good, we have to be representative, I think, of our communities. So, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Yeah. Alder Galvin, then Alder Brunette.
I would have to agree with Alder Weary. I came from a family of 10 children, and this council very often resembles some of our supper times together.
Feel bad for you guys.
Yeah, it was interesting. But I want to thank Alder Vanderleest, always a gentleman. Alder Corpus Dax, I want to thank you for opening my eyes on several occasions to issues within our community. And Alder LaFave, your passion for your community and the environment and everything that goes on in it was always top notch. So thank you very much, and I really enjoyed our time with all 3 of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Brunette?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Perfect comments, exactly how I feel. Alderman Vanderleest, one of the truest gentlemen you'll ever find in local government. It has been a tremendous honor serving with you, and Alder Corpus Dax, it was wonderful serving with you as well. You always, whenever I would call you to explain issues in my district as votes came up, you always seemed to be in the grocery store. So I don't know why that was. Maybe that was your way of avoiding talking to me. I don't know. But I do think that, you know, as someone who's a parent of young children, there's a lot of demands alders go through. And so we all go through them. But for your family and for everyone's family, it's really a labor of love, the jobs that we do. And so thank you for, you know, devoting 4 years of your life to the city of Green Bay during a very, you know, difficult time in your life, time-wise. So I appreciate that. And Alder LaFave, I wouldn't be in this seat if it wasn't for you sticking with me. 6 straight votes, a 6-6 tie and a coin toss. So I thank you for that. It's been a wonderful honor serving with you. I remember Alderman Weary and I, we ran against each other 2 times because we were neighbors. And I remember you helping Alderman Weary with literature, and you know, I didn't know you that well. And if you would have told me back then that you, me, and Weary would all be serving on the same city council for 4 years, I would never have guessed it. But it's been a great honor serving with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Corpus Dax?
Thank
For
you.
a second time, we'll allow it.
First time ever, my second time. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, former Mayor Jim Schmidt, and thank you to city staff. I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart all the help that you guys, all of you have given me over the last 4 years. So I forgot to say that last time. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Any other? Alder LaFave?
I did want to say something too. Thank you, Corpus Stack, for reminding me. I finally realized I was picking up the newsletter, the city newsletter, and I've been going through all those who retire, and I've been calling and thanking them for their service. Because, yes, I think we got a lot of great people working for the city. And I want residents to hear this and understand this, that they put a lot of their heart into the city. And I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well said. Any other comments? Alder Vanderleest?
Thank you. I want to thank everyone on City Council. It's been a pleasure serving here for the last 6 years. I think we've done a lot of good accomplishments here citywide. And, you know, we got a new head of chief, that's yourself. And I think the transition went well as far as how things work. And I just want to say that each person on City Council is very, very good as far as contributions for their districts. And I'm still going to be on the county board, God willing. I'm trying to be an advocate for the city of Green Bay. We've done a lot of good things on the county side as well. And I think that as we move forward, our city will prosper. And, you know, hopefully we can make good choices on the money that we have from the federal government and just keep things moving forward. And I'm hoping everybody has a real good next term. And I hope to be on the county as well. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alder.
Pleasure.
Alder Dorf?
Thank you, Mayor. So I'd also like to say farewell to 3 of our council members. We've done a lot of good things in the last 2 years, and we've had some ups and downs. We've had some disagreements, but we've come together and to try to make Green Bay into the best city it can be. And I hope that whoever gets on to the next council, that they know that that's what they're here for. We're here to try to make this place the best place to live and to grow and to work. And that should be the goal. So I will miss the 3 of you, and I wish you all the best. And who knows who's going to even be back here at the next meeting, with many of us being having opponents. So take care, guys. Thank you so much for all your hard work.
Thanks, Alder. All right, with that, how about a round of applause for our outgoing members? All right, on to appointments. Motion to approve the new appointments made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Corpus Dax. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Ordinance's second reading for adoption.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules and take up all these items with one roll call vote. That was made by Alder Scannell and seconded by Alder Galvin. All in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Motion
Approve, adopt.
to adopt.
Yes.
I knew it was an A word. Okay, motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt made by Alder Dorf, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any comments? Seeing none, we will use the board.
Thank you, Alders. You may vote. Thank you. Here is your displayed vote.
And those are approved unanimously. On to the report of the Improvement and Services Committee.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Corpus Dax. Any items here to be handled separately? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved. Protection and policy.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Galvin. Items here to be handled separately? One. Item one. Any others? Hearing none others, all in favor of approving the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes
Excuse
have it.
me, Your Honor, could you just hold on one moment?
You bet.
Thank you. I'm just having some difficulty. Hold on one moment.
No problem.
And you are pulling item one from the protection, I'm sorry,
Correct.
the protection policy report?
Correct.
Just item one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
You bet. So the ayes have it, and the report has been approved with the exception of item one. Your wishes on item one? Alder Stevens?
I ask that we hold this until our next common council meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Alder. Is there a second for that motion? Seconded by Alder Stoyer. Alders like an explanation?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Attorney Bungert, if you could just explain the procedural reason for doing this?
Yes, hi, good evening. So because this, the recommendation coming out of protection policy was to deny the license application on the basis of prior convictions, we have to provide a notice and opportunity for the applicant to be able to provide evidence of rehabilitation and fitness for the license activity. It's a employment discrimination issue because the decision is being made based on prior convictions. And this doesn't come up very often. And so when we caught it, we realized we needed to at least hold it until the next council meeting to send the notice to the applicant. And at that time, they can present whatever evidence they feel is appropriate to council, and then council can have the actual final determination on the license application.
Okay. Thanks, Attorney Bungert. A question from Alder Galvin?
I don't know if this is for Attorney Bungert or for whoever sets up the meetings, but are we going to have some information available? When I open this up, there's no data in there pertaining to the prior convictions, exactly what took place, details from the officers, anything like that, so we can understand exactly what was happening for each of those citations. Obviously, this person's going to make a plea that for whatever reason we should give them an exemption, and the city's going to say no, but I'd like to see what's going on behind that. Thank you.
Attorney Bungert?
Yes, I believe there was a denial memo that was prepared for protection and policy. And that should have been included in the packet. Either way, we'll make sure to have a denial memo prepared, basically kind of highlighting the different offenses that staff felt related to the license activity.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions? Alder Scannell?
Did this applicant appear at the Protection and Policy Committee?
They did not.
Shouldn't we just refer this back instead of holding it?
It actually was held over twice, so
Oh,
it appeared
okay.
on the agenda. The applicant
All right.
was noticed again to appear, and at that time, the committee made the decision to deny the application.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? Alder LaFave?
Yeah, I want to stress that. I did miss the last protection and policy meeting, apologize. But, yeah, I want to stress that he had 2 times to appear, to be on Zoom, and he did not appear. So that's why I think I'd vote no, just to deny it, because he should have come forward. I mean, if he would have come forward, then he can explain how he has changed over the years. But, to hear nothing from him, to be silent, I think that kind of says something too. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alder Shore?
Well, thank you, Your Honor. I think a lot of times we'd like to see the applicant at the meeting. I think that would be very helpful for us to listen to them. I think he might have been a little confused on one of the meetings and maybe not show. This is as far as I'm concerned, this should be his last chance to come forward, and we will listen, and we've got to make sure that he has to make sure he comes to the meeting. So I don't know if the clerk lets them know that the meeting will be such and such a time. As long as that information is provided to them, then there should be no excuse.
All right. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor of Alder Stevens' motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Item has been held over. Protection and Policy Committee granting operator licenses. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Corpus Dax. Any names here to be handled separately or abstentions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Report of the Plan Commission. Motion to approve made by Alder Dorf, seconded by Alder Corpus Dax. Any items here to be handled separately? Seeing none, Alder Johnson.
I just need to record to reflect that I am abstaining from item N1 because the applicant is a member of my executive committee.
All right, so noted. Thanks, Alder. All in favor of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Report of the Finance Committee. Motion to approve made by Alder Dorf, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any items here to be handled separately?
2, 5, 11, and 12.
2, 5, 11, and 12. Any others?
Number 20.
Any others? 2, 5, 11, and 12, and 20 will be handled separately. Hearing none others, all in favor of approving the remainder of that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, with the exception of those items. Your wishes on item 2? Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf, was pulled by Alder Brunette.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'm not in favor of the motion as written. I could not attend the Finance Committee meeting, so I don't know. I want to talk about this publicly, but I understand there may be some issues we need to discuss privately, or not privately, but in closed session, which I'm not in favor of. But could Attorney Bungart or someone from the finance kind of explain what this is in a way that we can determine if the carryover funds should be used or there are other funding sources to accomplish the same thing?
I'd like to make a point of clarification. The people that can't see this agenda, would it be all right if I would read what we're talking about so the public can know what we're talking about?
Sure.
Okay. What we're talking about is item number 2, which is to approve staff's recommendation to approve up to $432,000 of budget surplus funds to be used as a one-time payment as COVID-19 pay for the general levy employees, and up to $97,000 of ARPA funds to be used for non-levy employees and city staff to proceed as directed in closed session. So that is what we're talking about, giving the $500 bonus to our staff members.
Absolutely. Thank you, Alder. And just for the entire council, what we would be able to discuss are things related to contract negotiations in closed session and how this might or might not impact represented employees.
Got it. Okay, I get, that's a good explanation, Mayor. I guess, what I would be in favor of, because we don't know what 2023 budget will look like, I always like to have carryover funds go into the next budget year, if possible, held. Certainly a big chunk of money that we could use. In this particular situation, I'm wondering if we could use all ARPA funds to fund this initiative fully, for representative and non-represented employees, and then have those funds carry over. So if someone could answer that question, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a, I don't know, not two-part, but maybe multiple individual answer that, and Alder Dorf and members of the committee can kind of speak to this, because that question was kind of thrown open to the committee to designate funding sources. So I would open it up to committee members, and then Director Ellenbecker for additional comment. But Alder Dorf?
Yeah, I would say that Director Ellenbecker could probably give the finer points on why we, in the end, decided to take it from two separate accounts, because we spent quite a long time at finance just trying to decide where it should come from. And I think that she'd be the best person to share with the rest of council why, in the end, we said, let's do it from these two different accounts rather than one place.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Director Ellenbecker?
Yes, hi all. Good evening. Yes, back to Alder Brunette's question. This could be paid out of 100% out of ARPA funds instead of carryover. But there was a discussion and decision and really discussion saying that, really the reason why we have carryover and favorability is because there were positions that weren't filled, there were programs that didn't run. And so really they're the savings from 2022 or the surplus from 2021, I apologize, I'm carrying into 2022. It really, the majority of that savings is because the positions weren't filled. So for any of them, any person that was on the general levy, that is why we are looking to take up to $432,000 from the carryover, and the remaining would be employees who are covered by the city but would not have typically been funded through a levy supported.
Thanks, Director. Yeah, Alder Brunette?
Director Ellenbecker, if you could share with us the year-end financial position of the city. Did you determine how much funds we have left over what was budgeted?
Again, this is still this is preliminary. Certainly, we're going into audit in 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. We are still working on final journal entries. At this moment, it looks like there would be prior to these adjustments, it looks like there would be, I don't have actually the total. After these adjustments, there would be roughly $200,000 left, based on the decisions that were already made that are put on this agenda. We had a savings of about $1.1 million in expenses. However, we had a shortfall in revenues of about $150,000. So the net was around over $800,000. And then with these carryover requests and this ARPA request for these one-time payments, would leave us around a positive fund balance between $200,000 to $300,000. Again, pre-audited at this point.
So if we use ARPA fully for this entire item, then we would, other than the audit might change things a little bit, but we'd be carrying about $630,000 into 2023 budget year. Unless we use it for other things throughout 2022, obviously.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Director. I would like to make that motion to approve staff's recommendation, but use the entire amount from ARPA funds.
I have 2 more questions for.
Yeah, you bet. There's a motion to use American Rescue Plan Act dollars for the entirety of this amount. That was made by Alder Brunette and seconded by Alder Weary. Alder Dorf?
Thank you. Director Ellenbecker, so I know we went through this, and I just want to make sure that what are the exact things that we can use carryover money for? Do we have to obligate it to certain things, or does it then just automatically have to go into the fund balance? I thought there was some reasoning as to why we decided let's use this for this, because otherwise, And then fill in the blank. What is the otherwise? What else can we use it for?
Yes, anytime you have a carryover surplus from one budget year, it really just falls to the bottom line. It goes into the fund balance. It just increases your fund balance to be carried over into future years. What can be used for carryover is it needed to be in your budget. So these are expenses. These are salary expenses that really were not paid out during 2021. So that's a qualified expense. If it wasn't, then you would have had to do a budget amendment to get it into the budget to carry it over. And that's why you saw in some cases you had kind of a double resolution.
So at this point, we would need a budget amendment really to carry it over. Otherwise, it just simply goes into fund balance. And we really can't use it then for 22?
For 2022, well, no, because it's just going to be it's going to be in your fund balance for 2022.
So we could pull it out if we needed it at some point?
Yes.
Even though
Yes.
it's
So, I
not-
mean, number one thing would be if you were going to spend something above your 2022 budget out of the levy, I would recommend or suggest that you pull from contingency would be your first place.
Right.
That is why we have a contingency account. If it's an emergency, then you could go to more your contingency reserve, or I would have to check the state statute or exactly how we would move it, pull something designate something from a fund balance, but that is an option also.
So it seems to me that, I mean, I'm in favor of this motion no matter where we get the money from. I just want us to have as much flexibility as possible. It's feeling like we'd have more flexibility if we took it from the budget surplus, because then the ARPA funds, there's a lot of more different things we can do with the ARPA funds. But is that accurate or not accurate, Director Ellenbecker?
Yes, well, definitely, this money can be used for this carryover for this purpose. The ARPA funds is pretty wide open, and it's the portion of that $10 million that is used for lost revenue, that it can be used for many, it's pretty wide open what it can be used for. I don't know if that answers your question.
Right, it seems we have more flexibility than if we didn't take it out of ARPA funding. And another reason I guess I would like it to stay the way it is because that budget surplus is a result of positions not being filled, people having to do like double time work. That money, it just seems to make sense to me to be used for that purpose. But the main reason is we'd have more flexibility with ARPA funds. Again, either way, I want this to happen. I want this to go forward. So I wish we'd have a little more discussion at council as to the direction that council thinks we should go.
Thanks, Alder. And I would, just go to members of Finance Committee first if you have additional comments. Alder Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. So we did talk about this at length in closed session. And really there's two questions at stake here. I think the first one we have to answer for ourselves is, do we support the payment of a bonus to our staff, who have worked incredibly hard this past year? And obviously my comments will be biased, so you'll have my answer. But they've worked incredibly hard this past year, difficult circumstances, especially our frontline workers, folks that really didn't have an option, that still had to show up regardless. And this is kind of a move that you're seeing not only with other public sector employers like ourselves. I know even locally, Schwabentown School District recently did something. I've seen others. But you're seeing the private sector do it well. And part of it's to say, hey, COVID was a really challenging time for all of you, but part of it is also recognizing inflation that is really impacting our families. And quite frankly, we have very little flexibility to do much to support our staff and their families during that period. So I think this is a really smart way for us to really look our staff in the eyes and say, we value you, we appreciate you, we hear you, and we want you to stay happy working for the city of Green Bay. So to me, that's the first question, and like I said, I think it's very transparent how I feel about that. The second question then is, where does the funding come from? And I think Alderdorf's absolutely right, and this is a piece of what we talked about exhaustively, is creating the most flexibility for the city of Green Bay. And right now, using the carryover balance is what does that for us. I think we've all talked about it with ARPA funding in particular, the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we have to truly make impactful investments in our community. And ARPA gives us the best strategy forward to do that. There are, without a doubt, more proposals coming forward from the mayor's office. I'm sure several council members at least have some thoughts as well about things that they would like to do. But that kind of removes itself from the table, or certainly alters that discussion moving forward when you let the carryover balance go to the reserve fund. The reserve fund is healthy right now. Director Ellenbecker talked about that at one of our previous meetings, where it's actually above where we need it to be. So there doesn't have to be this concern to replenish the reserve fund. The general fund as has been the case in the past. But again, recognizing that this funding is coming from a budget year where it is meant to directly impact. And what I mean by that is we're rewarding our employees for the work that they did in the last budget year, the last fiscal year. And that's where this carryover balance is directly tied to. And that's why, with all due respect to Alder Brunette, I'm actually opposed to the motion on the floor, because I'd rather see the carryover balance used for this purpose. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Alder. Any additional comments from Alder Galvin or Corpus Dax? Alder Galvin?
Yeah, I just want to ask a question of Director Ellenbecker, and I don't mean to belabor it, what you told us, but do we have more flexibility with this carryover money or with ARPA funds?
Well, I will tell you, we have a short window or a timeline for the carryover funds. This is really, this is the last meeting to have a request for carryover funds, because our audit starts in about 2.5 weeks, and those would have to be entered into a system. If we're, so really, we're really past the deadline. So if this doesn't go through and it'd be ARPA, there's no longer, we can no longer take carryover requests through. So there is one restriction right there. And yes, anything for carryover should have been something that was already in your budget that didn't get spent within the year, or you would have to go through this double resolution of getting it added to the budget and then carry it over. But again, at this point, we are up to our last meeting. And I don't want it to sound like, yep, it's a situation where we come to the last minute and bring it to you. Since January, I have been telling you that we have up until March to put a carryover request or budget amendment request in. So our meeting has come now, and our audit is within 2 weeks from now. So this is the last meeting. So carryover request, we have now ended our 2021 carryover request. This is the last time period. And so for this particular item, yes, it could go either way. But if you use carryover requests, that would free up more ARPA money for some other program or some other expense.
Okay. And just the reserve fund balance right now is
healthy.
Yes, and again, the reason why that has changed pretty dramatically from really a year or so ago when we had talked about it is we had new auditors that came in a year ago, and had us restate some of the expenses in which the way they were categorized. The previous auditor had us categorizing things one way. New auditors came in, had us make some changes. That has now left us with a overall general fund balance of about just over 30 million, which is our general fund policy says we want at least 25% of our most recent prior year expenditures. My projection is looking at, we will be at about 34%. So we are going to be above, within or above the minimum and maximum in which we say we want to fall in within for the general fund. So we are actually, because of those adjustments, we are actually, it is above our policy.
all right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And then just to remind people of what our resolution says with respect to ARPA and this category, it's really any organizational priority. So, it's pretty broadly written. Alder Brunette for a second time?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I still support the motion. The reason is I agree with the mayor. I hadn't thought of it in that way when he said that, we have a very tight labor market. There are not a lot of, our employees are doing a lot. It's a tough labor market. There are a lot of vacancies. There are a lot of attractive job offers that are perhaps out there. So it's a way for us to appreciate our employees. So I agree with that. The reason I'm struggling with using the budget surplus funds is that that's levy dollars. Those are tax dollars. Okay, that is money that taxpayers are providing. And so whenever you go through a budget year and you spend less than what you take or say you're going to spend, then we should certainly remember that those are taxpayer dollars. And if we held on to those funds although we may have some restrictions in how we could use those carryover funds in the next few months or even the rest of the year, that would still go to our fund balance, which helps in the case that we ever have some dire emergency that we need to use. We can always authorize some sort of resolution or free those funds. I'm sure there's got to be some mechanism to do that. And what I like is that we can carry these funds over. If it goes to the fund balance in the 2023 budget, if the council at that time says, wow, we got a lot of needs, but we have $400,000 in our fund balance, we can carry over those funds, or we can take those funds from the general fund in order to make the budget year better next year. So I'm definitely in favor of the motion. Keep in mind, $432,000 of money we collected from taxpayers, that's essentially $40,000 per district roughly. So if you go to your district and your residents and say, you know what, per budget, we have $432,000 we have to allocate towards something, they maybe would not be on board with using those tax dollars for this purpose, but they most certainly would be in favor, in my opinion, of using the federal dollars in order to provide a one-time payment to our employees. So I'm for the motion. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Dorf for a second time.
I will vote against the motion because it takes away from our flexibility in using our funds. I just want to assure the employees I'm 100% in favor of giving the $500. And I think that the citizens in this city who were well served by you during COVID on the front lines at a time when we didn't know even how COVID was spread, and you were coming to work, you were helping with elections, you were on the front lines doing the job. Those citizens would want you to have this bonus as well. And so I'm going to vote against it, and I wish that people would, or council members would come to some of the committee meetings sometimes when something this important is on the agenda, so we could be having those discussions and those fuller explanations and not needing to do it again at council. But I just want people to know that my negative vote on this is simply because if it fails, I can go back to making the original motion again. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Vanderleest.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm in favor of using the ARPA funds. I think that having a balance in our general fund is very good. More is better there. And government money that is kind of a windfall, we wouldn't have it. So I would say use those funds first, and then you'll still have the other funds. We're still going to spend the money one way or the other. It's going to be spent. And I would say use that ARPA money while it's here. It's only a one-time deal. So it'll help us overall in our long budget, long haul. If you're a businessman, that first thing they'd say, we'll take that money, we're going to keep our general fund up. And as far as restrictions of spending the money, we'll find a way to spend that money. So that would be my recommendation. Take the ARPA money. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Any other comments? Alder Gerlach?
I have a question for Director Ellenbecker, if this is appropriate to ask. Alder Dorf says that using all ARPA funding for this would take away our flexibility. You know that finance is my weakest area, so I'd like your advice. Do you concur with that?
I'm going to just try to explain what I think Alder Dorf was stating, is that we had a $10 million bucket for ARPA. I think we're down to about 7-point-some million. Susan could help give us the exact number. But this will take another $400,000 out of this $7 million remaining balance. And that is, again, it is very wide open. There's more things. There are many projects that could be submitted, and this money could be used for. Back to on the flip side, the carryover request, this is really your last night to really use your carryover request, that it is allowable use. So I think that's what I'm trying to explain, is that what you're doing is you're taking away some money that is very wide open. You could, various number of projects could be submitted in the next year to 2 years, and it could be submitted and you could use it for, vote to use those monies for. I don't know if that helps or not.
Yes, that helps. Your Honor, I attended the Finance Committee meeting, and I listened, and I didn't fully understand it, and I don't fully understand it now, but I trust the Finance Committee, and so I'm going to vote with the Finance Committee.
Thanks, Alder. Any other comments? Alder Scannell.
Yeah, just real quick, I don't see much difference here. We're robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's all tax dollars. It all came from our pockets. Federal levy, what's the difference? It's what's the best way we spend our tax dollars. It appears saving the ARPA and using this money for following the finance recommendation seems like the best way to go. So that's what I'm going to support too.
Thanks, Alder. All right, so the motion on the floor has been made by Alder Brunette, basically to use $529,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act dollar allocation for the entirety of the stipend here. We had a second by Alder Weary. All in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Nay. The nays appear to have it.
I'd like to move to approve up to $432,000 surplus funds to be used as a one-time COVID pay for general levy employees, and up to $97,000 in ARPA funds to be used for non-levy employees and city staff to proceed as directed in closed session.
Thanks, Alder. I think we had an underlying motion already for approval.
Oh, we did. I'm sorry. I
that's
didn't know
right.
went back to that.
Yep, no problem. Discussion on this underlying motion. Alder Brunette?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. On the flip side of Alder Dorf's comment just a few minutes ago, I'd like to express to city employees, I'm definitely in favor of you getting some funds as proposed, but I believe that it should come from the ARPA dollars. I think a fund balance of $432,000 would come in quite handy to the city. So I'm really forced to vote against it, against the motion, not because I'm against allocating dollars to the employees, but I certainly think it should have come from the ARPA funds. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Any other comments? None. All in favor of the motion will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay?
No?
The ayes have it, and that motion is approved. On to item 5. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Galvin. That item, I believe, was pulled by Alder Brunette. Yes. And just for our audience, it's to approve the purchase of National Integrated Ballistic Information Network equipment for $188,000. Alder?
Yeah. Chief Davis, I just don't want the public to be, to mistake the NIBIN for the gunshot detection system, which also has been proposed. So the NIBIN, I believe this bid or this purchase came quite a bit under what you were anticipating spending. Is that correct?
I would have to go back and look at exactly what we originally estimated. I know that when we made our ARPA request, we intentionally budgeted conservatively because we didn't want it to be more than we expected. But to your other question, yes, I can confirm NIBIN and gunshot detection are two completely different things.
Okay.
My recollection is that this was kind of in the neighborhood of what we were anticipating.
It was, kind of around there. So this is there any additional purchases that we're gonna be seeing, if we approve this, like a month from now, is there gonna be additional, equipment or contracts we need to approve in coordination with this?
No, this should satisfy the purchase of the equipment and the licensing agreement. I believe it is out 3 years into the future.
Okay, and this is ARPA funds, correct? This is ARPA funds, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. I approve this. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That item has been approved. On to 11. That was a motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Galvin, and that's to approve a 2022 budget amendment and 2021 carryover resolution for $52,000 of fund balance to replace street light fixtures. Alder Brunette?
Thank you. Question for Director Grenier. Was this a budgeted item?
This was not a budgeted item. We do have a line item in the budget for streetlight maintenance. There was a memo that was included with the finance package a week ago. We do have 4 city-owned systems on Bell, Maine. Those are metered systems. So with a metered system, you actually pay for the energy based off of the meter reading, not too dissimilar than, say, for your house. With the focus on energy rebates, bringing the cost of the bulbs down, changing from high-intensity discharge or high-pressure sodium lights, a conventional street light, to LED fixtures, simply looking at the cost savings in energy, not including maintenance to replace those bulbs, because the LED bulbs have greater than a 10-year lifespan. Just on energy savings alone, we will pay the return on investment. This will pay for itself in less than 8 years. So that's why we're recommending going forward.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I did read the document, and thanks for explaining that a little more detail. I guess what my question, though, is it was not included in the 2022 budget. Was this something that was cut at the last moment, or did this come on your radar relatively, late in the process as a possibility?
It came to our attention after the budget was approved due to the focus on energy rebates.
All right, and you, in your professional opinion, you think it would be a prudent, wise financial decision for the council to move forward with this purchase?
Absolutely. This provides a better, more dependable light source, with the LEDs having the longer lifespan than a conventional bulb. From a safety perspective, it takes and keeps our staff out of working in traffic. And then from an energy efficiency standpoint, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
Okay, thanks, Alder. Alder LaFave?
I've been doing some research on different things for energy, things that we can do. And this, I will say, is an excellent one. Usually the experts say that anything that you do with a 10-year turnover is really good. I mean, 8 years, this is phenomenal. I would say this is a really good thing that that we should approve. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. All right, all in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
No.
You guys have it. Item 11 has been approved. On to 12, to approve a 2022 budget amendment and 2021 carryover resolution for $3,600 for office furniture. That was, the motion to approve was made by Alder Scannell. We have a second? Seconded by Alder Gerlach. The item was pulled by Alder Brunette.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Similar question, I guess this would go to you because I think it's for your office, Mayor. Was this a budgeted item for 2022?
Yes, so it's coming from a line item that was budgeted. The purchase was made late or is intended to be made late in 2021, and unfortunately, equipment didn't arrive until 2022. So that's the reasoning there. But Director Ellenbecker, if you have anything else to add.
Right, I can just add that, for audit purposes, if you haven't received it and you haven't paid for it within the year, we can't show it as a 2021 expense. Their department had enough money left over in their office supply budget to purchase these items. And again, so unfortunately, they ordered it in December, it didn't get delivered or paid for, and that's why we're asking for the carryover request. So it truly was, it was a budgeted item. They had remaining funds. It just didn't deliver and get paid on time.
Alder Brunette?
Yeah, office supplies looks, again, I'm not trying to be difficult, but how we allocate dollars in this process has been a concern of mine, not just under this mayor, all mayors, in my time on the county board as well. And I can elaborate on that a little bit more if I need to. But under office supplies, the line item was only $2,200. So Director Ellenbecker, was any of that $2,200 allocated outside of the furniture purchase?
Yes, there were other savings within that budget. They had other line item savings, and so in total, that the mayor's office. And actually, I have to step back. Actually, up until 2021, both law department and mayor's office, shared the same office furniture, office supply line. But I think, again, it's back to your point. In total, the mayor's office did come in under budget. And so that's why toward the end of the year, there was room for them to get some new equipment. And so that's when they put in.
Mayor came under budget. Well done. Thank you.
Thanks.
So again, the greater point, here's the greater point I'll make, and I'll let it go. I'll approve the motion. But I just want to make sure that as we have these large sums of money, it's not just this year, but when we have a budget surplus, we are basically saying that the city performed well and the taxpayers, to some degree, some level, for the sake of transparency, when we start approving things that go beyond what we had approved at the budget process, I just wish we had a little more time to determine these sorts of things rather than the last meeting that we're able to allocate the dollars. Because we're going to be entering a rather tough phase of government, in my opinion. There are a lot of struggles that may be coming around the corner. We don't know. Inflation's through the roof, fuel prices, whatever have you. There are going to be a lot of pressures on the city government in the next year or two potentially, and I'm hoping that's not the case. So it would be nice to have a large sum of money, because it is tax dollars, that we carry over into the next year through fund balance. So I'll go ahead and I'll approve this. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Any other comments? Seeing none, motion was made to approve in a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That item is approved. And now we're on to item 20, I believe, which is Ad hoc Facilities Committee, dedicating funds to update the studies related to the City Hall, Police, Fire, and Municipal Court buildings, as well as review the operational costs of these buildings using the remaining 2018 bonded money for public safety building analysis of $34,000. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Gerlach. I believe it was Alder Vanderleest who pulled it.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
You bet.
I just wanted to ask the ad hoc committee, what have they actually got done so far as, you know, I know they've been looking at different facilities, and if they've found any options that are, you know, at the beginning, they were talking at $45 to $50 million project to build a police and fire, you know, joint building and things like that. Have they come up with any alternatives as far as how they can get things done? I think the police department, you know, if they could buy a facility, you know, close by or whatever it might be, and just give them a break as far as they need more space for evidence and all the rest of the departments. In other words, if they could transfer some of them to a building that's close by, you know, for not a lot of money, I think they should move forward on it. They could, you know, help them out a lot. Because I don't know if the $40 million or $35 million or whatever they might have in mind, I don't think it's reachable at this point right now, unless you're going to be bonding for an awful lot of money. You know, the ad hoc committee should, you know, look at some alternatives. I know they've looked at some other buildings, but I think they should move forward on finding, if it's a West Side facility or whatever it might be, and you know, put all the people together that are involved with it, and just like the sheriff's department did here, you know, a number of years back, and they did a real good job on the facility out there. So it just takes some thinking as far as how they're going to go about finding the right property and not spending what we really can't afford, and just getting things going. It's been how many years? It's been 4 years, I think, you know, 18. It's been 4 years, there's nothing been done. You know, they're still fighting it out in the, you know, as far as the space and what have you, and, you know, the building needs repair. It's like the jail that we have downtown, you know, the one right next to the courthouse. It's not in good shape anymore. You know, that's why they built a new jail pod out at the site, at the county site. So I think the ad hoc committee should look at some alternatives and move forward on, you know, less costly facility that would help them right now. I think that's what they need. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Appreciate those comments. I defer to Alders on the Ad hoc Facilities Committee. Alder Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Vanderleest, to answer your question, what have we done so far? We've elected a chair and a vice chair. That's about it.
And this
so, so we've only had one meeting, and it was really to, you know, the first time I think that the full committee had met. As I mentioned, jokingly, but also honestly, we've elected a chair and a vice chair. We've reviewed a couple of old studies that had been done previously, and when we look at the allocation of this additional $34,000, this was money that had been previously bonded but unspent. So it is sitting in an account right now, and we essentially are making the request to allocate it so that we can update the space needs study that was done many years ago, and so it needs an update to more accurately reflect where we're at right now. But fortunately, there's a good base there yet. So the updating shouldn't be nearly as intensive as obviously what it took to create it the first time. So I think like any good process, we're going to first determine what our needs are. So we're way early yet in terms of determining, is it a new building? Is it a remodeled building? What building would we remodel if we chose that route? Do we combine buildings or do we not? Additionally, the mayor's made a request, and, you know, certainly would defer to him if he wants to speak more to this, to have our committee expand our scope a little bit, to include a number of facilities within the city of Green Bay. So, rather than just the way that the original motion, which was written, which was a unified municipal services building, you know, that it could perhaps take a look at some of our other facility needs as well. So there's a lot of work to do in this process yet, and so I premature to say at this point what route the committee would go, but we'll take the next prudent step, which is really to get the updated study on this, which I think we're expecting in about 6 to 8 weeks. Does that seem right? 6 to 8 weeks, and we'll have that back, and then we'll reconvene and then determine where we go from there.
It's all there. Anything?
No, remember I got pulled up.
That's right. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and that item has been approved. Let's see. On to report of the park committee. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Gerlach. Any items here to be handled separately? Hearing none, all in favor of approving that report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Personnel committee.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens. Items here to be handled separately? Hearing none, all in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That item has been approved.
Mayor?
Yes.
If I could, my apologies, I had that located wrong in my agenda here where something was. That's on me. I'd like to make a motion to just reconsider the Protection and Policy Committee L.
Motion has been made to reconsider adoption of Protection and Policy Committee report. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the item L is before us.
Number 4, please.
Item 4, to receive and place on file a report from the clerk's office regarding absentee ballot certificate curing policies and procedures. A motion here? To receive and place on file, perhaps? Okay. Made by Alder Scannell.
Second.
I think seconded by Alder LaFave. Item was pulled by Alder Weary. You have the floor.
Thank you for reconsidering it. As my fault for noting it wrong. It's an excellent memo. Thank you, Clerk Jeffries. This clearly spells out, I think, what I was looking for. You know, the City of Green Bay Clerk's Office, what it will cure and what it won't, and in the outreach it'll do to reach people whose absentee ballot envelopes aren't filled in correctly. This is exactly it. And then it's also important to note, and I'm glad we're doing this, I'm glad they're taking the initiative to do this, the clerk's office will keep a record of which voters had their their envelope cured, as well as the corresponding type of cure. I think that's just good for open government. That's excellent to see. My one question would be, does this memorandum technically mean it's policy? This is what will happen? I just wanted to clarify that.
Sure. We can go to Attorney Bungert on that question.
Yes, so my understanding, and I would defer to Clerk Jeffries to confirm, is that these procedures are set forth by the Wisconsin Elections Commission. So they're not policies that we've developed in-house. And so essentially the memorandum is the purpose of it is to basically relay that information and confirm what procedures are being followed as directed by the governing authority in charge of administering elections in the state, which is the Wisconsin Elections Commission.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
It's excellent for clarity. The part that would be different would be the keeping track of what's cured and what ballots, correct? That is something new. And then I would ask the clerk to perhaps, I know I watched the meeting, if we could find a way to put this on the website in some way. It doesn't have to be exactly this. Just add it in some fashion as informational, because anytime we can answer questions or concerns ahead of time about how things are being done, it helps downstream. So just if you
Forgive me, Your Honor, I did not, the audio cut out. So, Your Honor, I did not hear everything that Alder Weary was asking for.
Yeah, he had just asked if it was possible to place the memo on your webpage.
Yes, I can certainly find a place to put that on the webpage.
I appreciate it. I think it just helps for clarity and for answering those questions and concerns ahead of time. I think that'll go a long way, towards easing people's questions. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and that item has been received and placed on file. Now we're on to, I think we're on a committee of the whole. Just motion to approve made by Alder Galvin, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any item here to be handled separately? Is that two? Two? All right. Others, all in favor of approving the remainder of that report, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And we have item 2 in front of us. Motion to approve. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf. Item was pulled by Alder Brunette.
Yeah, thank you, and I just want to publicly thank Clerk Jeffries and Attorney Bungert. They did both reach out to me with the explanation. I could not return the call to Clerk Jeffries. I was at work today, but I do appreciate them explaining this before it came to the council. I really do appreciate that. One question, though, I do have for Attorney Bungert under election officials. The way that I read this is, and I can get on board with this, I'm in favor of this as a whole, but the thing that I'm troubled by is it said there's strike-through language that says by resolution passed not less than 60 days prior to any election. So we are obviously within that 60 days of the next election. So to me, the way that I read that is that we really should not be considering this for the April election, which is like 3 weeks away. Should this be in effect, for the September election?
Right. So that 60 days prior language, that's not going away. Essentially, that is still necessary in order to make changes. So the numbering is not changing. So it's essentially just changing the designation. So at least the descriptive words, I guess, that is currently in the ordinance. So our ordinance currently provides that each polling place, there will be 3 inspectors and 2 clerks. So essentially 5 election officials, unless the council increases that number by a resolution of not less than 60 days. So now it's providing that there'll be 5 inspectors at each polling location, at each polling place within the city, unless the council passes a resolution increasing or decreasing in accordance with state statutes.
Okay, so the way I understand it right now for the April election, we are basically operating under the ordinance before us. But in order to make a change, we would be approving this document, this resolution, or ordinance change. But by doing so, we're basically violating that 60-day clause that currently exists. Do you see what I'm struggling with?
Yes, that 60-day clause doesn't exist in state statutes. So neither section 7.30 nor 7.32 places a time restriction on when a resolution in question must be passed, other than it has to be passed before the election. So this is allowing flexibility, obviously, if election inspectors are bowing out or there's issues with staffing, it allows, or there's any kind of change with the nature of the election where the clerk feels that in order to adequately staff, additional inspectors need to be included or need to be hired. It allows the legislative body to obviously be able to increase that amount so that the clerk can appropriately staff in their discretion. And accordingly, because it's not in state statutes, the 60-day section has been removed.
Okay, and I'm not trying to be obtuse. I'm really struggling with trying to understand the reasoning because although it's not in state statute, it's currently city policy per existing code or ordinances. So we're basically going to be changing this by violating our existing city ordinance or resolution that says we can't do this 60 days before an election.
Right. It would be amending what we currently have in place. as it's a restriction that's not supported under state statute.
Okay,
It's not dictated by state statute. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to approve this, but make it effective the day after the April election.
So there's a section 3 that you're amending?
No, I approve it as written.
Right, but
what
there is an effective date within the
Okay.
ordinance.
Oh, okay. Where did I overlook that?
So it's the last section way at the bottom.
Okay, yeah, I would make a motion to approve this effective April 6, 2022.
Okay, an amendment has been offered by Alder Brunette to change the effective date to the day after the April election, 2022. That was seconded by Alder Weary. Further discussion? Alder Galvin?
Help me out here. Why?
I'm reading under section 1 of the current ordinance under the strike-through language. Staff strike through, that's the right past tense, the words, "At every election, there shall be in each city polling place 3 inspectors and 2 clerks unless the council by resolution passed not less than 60 days prior to any election increases the number of elections official by provided by law." So that is struck through, and there's new language added. And what I'm getting at, and the way I'm trying to reason through it, is that we are, in fact, making a change by passing this 60 days prior to the next election.
Okay.
We're within that 60-day window.
And I could certainly get on board this train if what we were proposing was to reduce the amount of staff than what was called for in the past. But actually what we're doing is increasing the staff, which to me, I believe we're doing it to make sure there's less chance for mistakes. There's enough people on hand to handle any kind of crowds or anything that may be taking place. And the fact that we have the right to change the law within that 60 day, and by changing it, it becomes the law is that you don't need the 60 days. If you could point to some group or anything that would be put out of sorts because of this, if it would cause problems at the polling place, I could understand it, but I'm not seeing it. And so if you got something else that could help me out here, I appreciate it.
If
Thank
I
you.
could respond to that, Mayor? Yeah, I get it, Alder Galvin. I guess what I'm just stuck on, and I don't think there's any ill intent at all with this change. But when I see something, and Attorney Bungert explained it, but I don't think in a legal frame of mind, so I kind of have a hard time understanding her reasoning. I don't disagree with it, obviously. But when I see something that says you can't make a change within 60 days of an election, and that's certainly what we're doing, I'd rather err on the side of the previous council, previous city government put this in place for a reason, and I don't want to make a change if it says right there that we currently are operating under the assumption that you wouldn't make a change within 60 days.
But if we go with what you're doing, then we can't add staff, if I understand this correctly. So we would have to go with 3, we won't be able to go to 5.
Okay.
I think it might make sense to go to the city clerk just to see, what her response is to this amendment. So with that, Clerk Jeffries, do you have any comments on the suggested amendment?
Well, I'm not quite sure that I see Alder Brunette's point, because the way that I understand this is the resolution would have to take place 60 days ahead, and we've already established the polling locations. And this is really cleaning up that we don't have 2 clerks at polling locations. We have essentially a chief inspector. We have an odd number of people, a chief inspector, and then 4 other people to run the various tables of the ward so that we can run an effective ward. And really 5 is the minimum. I'm not really quite seeing his point. I mean, I think this is a really good thing to clean up this language. The reason why it's coming before you as a first and final is because we had, between the law department and my office, we had to reach out to various mentor lawyers, law departments and clerks in order to better understand how other municipalities did this. And then we finally came to this conclusion. So, I suppose what I have to offer is unfortunately I don't understand Alder Brunette's point. I think this is a good thing, obviously. I think it needs to be cleaned up. I'm very much in favor of making this change.
Okay, and then just for the benefit of council and the public, could you speak to some of the language here about shifts that's included
Yes.
and what that means?
Yes, so, it's a 14-hour day for an election inspector, otherwise known as a poll worker. And, for some people who work, and I'd love to have, we love our election inspectors who are retired persons, and we'd love to have more election inspectors who are workers. Additionally, we've had some election inspectors who are high school students. We can get some of those community members with some caveats. And, for them, 14 hours is not a feasible day. And so I'd like to be able to offer election inspectors the flexibility of working part of the day. Chief inspectors don't have that. They have to be there all day. But that's another really key component. Thank you, Your Honor, for asking that. That's another key component of this ordinance.
Okay, thanks, Clerk. Alder Brunette?
Yeah, like I said, I'm in favor of it. I just think it should be effective the next election, because whether this is the letter of the law and certainly the spirit of the law or ordinance as written makes me think that previous councils or parts of city government thought that it would not be good to make a change within 60 days. So I'm in favor of it with all the questions around elections. I just don't want to take the chance of making a change like this within 3 weeks of an election when we could make it effective the next day for the September and November and every election moving forward. I just don't know why we'd take that chance of, violating at least the spirit of what was passed and currently we are functioning under. So that's all. I don't have to belabor the point. It's just
Thanks,
a
Alder.
thought. Thank you.
Alder Scannell and then Alder Gerlach.
Yeah, I appreciate what the alder's trying to get at, but to me, since we are changing the law to do away with that language, I think we can do that at any time. If we were going to keep that language, it would make more sense. But we have the authority to change the ordinance as we see fit at any time. And not knowing why the originators of who put in that language, why they did that, I see no reason not to go forward. I mean, unless I can find out a good reason why, what problem we're causing, what toes we're stepping on, what issues at stake here. I think we have the authority to do what we think is best for the city. And I think passing this ordinance now is best for the city. So I understand the technicality you're trying to dance around. I just don't know that it's relevant. I appreciate your particularity here, your legal mind at work here, but we have the authority. We don't have to. We change ordinances and things all the time, counter to previous authorities. Who knows why they put in what they did or how they wrote it or for what reasons. So we're just going forward with what we think is best, and I think it's best. I think we all think it's best. So I see no reason to get hung up on a technicality that we're removing from the law anyway. So I support the change. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Gerlach?
Alder Scannell kind of stole my thunder. That's exactly what I wanted to point out. We change ordinance, we modify ordinances all the time, and every time a council modifies an ordinance, it is undoing or redoing or changing what a previous council thought was best. We make the decision that today we think something else is best. And to use the word violating is really misleading. We are not violating something, we are amending it. Once it's amended, there is no violation. So as Alder Scannell said, yes, we're trying to do something good here, and we're not violating anything. We are simply saying that we as a council feel that this is the best way to proceed, even though a previous council felt that something else was the best way to proceed. We do it all the time.
Thanks, Alder. Any other comments? Alder Weary?
Thank you. I think the real reason behind this is we're trying to make this meeting run till midnight for those who are departing. So we got a little ways to go. I might have to reconsider some things. My one question for the clerk would be, are we already planning on some half shifts and third shifts that we wouldn't be able to fill, maybe if, if we don't adopt this?
Clerk?
So thank you, Your Honor and Alder. We do have some people who would like to work a half day. We do. The exact number, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But,
People with dogs.
most people actually don't mind working the whole day at this point, but we do have some who would like to work that part day.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I can see where this would help a great deal with our staffing. If you don't have to commit to such a long day, if you can do a half or a third, I think that would be tremendously helpful. I completely understand the spirit behind where Alder Burnett's coming from. On this, though, I'm gonna withdraw my second. I think the changes here aren't anything we need to be concerned about.
Thanks, Alder. Do we have a second for Alder Burnett's motion, seeing that? Not seeing a second. It does fail. So we have an underlying motion to approve and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That item has been approved. On to receive and place on file.
Motion to receive and place it on file.
Motion to receive and place on file the building report for February 2022 and the municipal court report for February 2022, made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And those reports have been received and placed on file. Resolutions?
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules and take up these items with one roll call vote, made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf. All in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the rules are suspended.
Motion for adopting the rules.
The resolutions?
Resolutions. Sorry.
Yeah, motion to approve or adopt has been made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Gerlach. Yes, Alder Johnson.
It's to advance, correct?
No, this is to adopt. These are resolutions.
Oh, sorry, I'm already ahead on the next item.
Yeah, that's right. Don't rush us.
I'm trying to get out of here before midnight. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, we will use the board.
Thank you, Alders. You may vote.
Alder Storer votes aye.
Thank you. And Alder Brunette?
Yeah, I vote yes.
Aye.
Thank you. And here is your displayed vote.
Were adopted unanimously, 12-0. Ordinance is first reading. Alder Johnson. Motion to
Suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules, take up items 1 through 3.
All right.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules, take up these items with one roll call vote, made by Alder Johnson, seconded by Alder Scannell. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The rules. Motion to advance, made by Alder Corpus Dax, seconded by Alder Gerlach. Any discussion? Seeing none, yes, Alder Johnson.
I just need to be recorded as abstaining from U1 because it is directly tied to N1, my previous abstention.
So noted. All in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and those ordinances are advanced to second and final reading. Ordinance is first and final reading for adoption.
Motion to adopt. Second.
Motion to adopt made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder LaFave. Any discussion? Seeing none, we will use the board.
Here, I'm sorry to interrupt. Because it's for first and final reading, we have to suspend the rules to adopt it at one vote and then vote to approve.
Okay.
To put the rules in suspension.
Second.
All right. Motion to suspend the rules and adopt this ordinance with a first and final reading made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Dorf. All in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The rules are suspended. Motion to adopt made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder LaFave. Any discussion? Alder Brunette?
Mayor, this is a board vote, correct?
Yep.
Again, I just want to make sure everyone's very clear. I'm in favor of this. I just would like an effective date of the next election. So I'm going to vote no. It's not because I don't like the idea. I'm just hung up on that 60-day notice, especially if we're suspending the rules to pass it 3 weeks before the election. So, thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Any other comments? We will use the board.
Thank you, Alders. You may vote.
Stoyer is aye.
Thank you. And here is your displayed vote.
That ordinance is adopted 11-1. Petitions and communications. Alder Vanderleest.
The Improvement and Service Committee to repair railroad crossing on Larson Road. Both crossings are in great need of fixing. Get a lot of complaints. It's in my district. That one sign that's been up there about bump, it's been up there probably for 4 or 5 years. If you're going to the post office on Larson Road, the first one is bad, then you get to the second railroad crossing. Maybe the city can work with United Tribe and, the railroad and talk to them about it and maybe get something done. They fixed, one on Military Avenue, did a nice job on that one. So if they could get the ones on Larson Road, it's a pretty heavy traffic area. You want a copy of this, or did Celestine Jeffries take it?
You can send it to Celestine? Yeah. I don't know if you're able to do a communication on the way out the door, but we'll allow it.
Okay, that'd be fine. I'll get that, I'll get it to you.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Any others? Motion to refer?
Motion to refer.
Motion to refer made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stoyer. All in favor signify by saying aye. Thank you. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That communication has been referred to the proper authority. Adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
I feel like we should allow one of our departing members.
Motion adjourned. Second.
Motion to adjourn by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Vanderleest. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.